agriculture market, and you came to the store, and we started talking about you moving to Nigeria. You're half Greek, half Nigerian, and you moved to Nigeria and started a business, and now you're back for a few months. And I asked you to come and answer one of the questions, and you chose one. If you read it out and just answer it.
Yeah, so thanks for giving me this time as well. The question is, what is your opinion on Africa's political and economical position in the world? So for me, I think this is a question that you can't look at the present in order to understand the potential and the reality of Africa. Because if we break down the question into two, the political question is one, obviously. With the politics, especially in Nigeria, it's something that is seen as a huge barrier and discourages a lot of people from the diaspora to return. But I think you have to kind of look beyond that, because politics is also like economic markets. They change over time. And yes, it's a very old story, obviously, that corruption has really been like deep rooted in, especially Nigeria, since independence essentially. But the economical potential, like not from my words, if you follow some of the biggest financial institutions in the world, and you take, for example, what's the name of that guy now? This is when names start to escape me now. Warren Buffett. So Warren Buffett is one individual who owns a huge financial institution, and they tend to set out fiscal studies every 10 years. Nigeria is in the top 5 in the world from 2040 onwards. And the reason being is because of the natural resource which we know about, but also manufacturing, which is an industry that I'm in. If you look today, if you look at India, India has a past as well. Nigeria to me is the next India, and India is the next China. So if you look at just the GDP alone and the manpower that you have in Africa, you just have to take a risk, I think. With a lot of us in Europe, we escape to Europe. We escape from a lot of trauma that our parents and ancestors have from being in Africa, being oppressed, being poor, being in the slums, not being able to reach their full potential. But we need to see this as 50% of the journey is complete. We have to go back. If we want to see a different Africa, we in the diaspora have to take that change. We have to go back there. I don't expect everyone to drop their shit now and to go out there. But I think if you meet someone, if you meet one person that's done that, we should use these individuals to study them and to understand what obstacles and barriers that they had. I had many barriers going to Nigeria, but I knew the end goal for me is to export a black-owned product. Even if you look around here in the market, I've asked so many stores, where is your product made? The product's never made in black hands unless it's a craft item. It's made in China, it's made in India. Why can it not be made in Nigeria? Because the infrastructure isn't there yet. But I know in 10 years time, from me being over there, it's a very long answer, I'm sorry, but there's many people from outside of the UK that invest in Africa. Arabs invest in Africa, the Chinese invest in Africa. All these people can't be wrong. So for me, the future is Africa. The present, maybe not, but the future is.
And then if we don't do it now, we're going to sit there 20 years ago and complain about Chinese people did it, Europeans did it, and then we're going to feel like cast out, or we're going to blame some sort of gentrification copy of it. And I just feel like, don't cry in 20 years because you didn't jump on the train early enough. That's what investment is about. You get there early and you reap this, and you reap what you sowed in a few decades, you know? So let's not be those people again. You know?
I agree, man. I think you just have to sort of take that risk. And me, I can acknowledge that there's been certain luck, and I know I have a privilege in order to go there, to build something and come back. Because I know many people that have done that and they've failed. And the difference is you need to have strong people around you that you trust when you do business in Africa. You can't go there on your own. I only went there because I have family from there. I have a dad, I have uncles, I have cousins that are from there. And yes, they do steal from us, not my situation, but from what people have said to me. But it's one of those things, if you're looking for longevity, invest in Africa. If you want to be rich next year, don't go to Africa, because you're not going to be rich next year. In the next 5-10 years, you may make some money. But the important thing is, what are you doing with that wealth? Are you putting that into the infrastructure to create a platform so others can do what you've done? We need to start thinking wholesomely. If you look back to the 50s and 60s, and you look at the origin of Pan-Africanism, from beyond Marcus Garvey to Malcolm X in his 50s and 60s, they were trying to connect that bridge between African Americans and the people, the diaspora, and also people in West Africa. And I can see that's bubbling now for the last 5 or 6 years. Black Lives Matter in the 2020 had pushed a lot of people to seek their own narratives and to paint their own pathway amongst their own people. So I think it's important for us as a collective. What I'm trying to do is to bridge together as many manufacturers as possible. No, sorry. I talk a lot, so I don't want to go on and on. I'm very passionate about it, you know.
No, and I think as I'm creating much more of my content and we've connected now, I think we should sit down properly one day and talk about what you do in Africa and why you do it and what's the long-term vision. And I think we need to hear more about it. So I love that you talk a lot, and if you're interested, we could sit down together and do like a proper piece of content. Yeah.